Headed down to around 40 degrees tonight in Morgantown as we welcome the third member of our crew on the sidelines tonight, all bundled up, Holly Rowe.
It's cold down here, but tell you what's hot right now. That is the true freshman running back, Steve Slayton, for West Virginia. Now, he actually verbally committed to Maryland, but things didn't work out, and he found himself here, and he has been a great surprise. He only got significant playing time in the last 3 games. Coach Rodriguez kept seeing this burst, this extra gear in practice. He said, we have to get this guy in a game. Finally gets Virginia Tech. They made the commitment. He rewarded them with 90 yards against the tough Virginia Tech defense. He had 139 the next week, and last game against Louisville, 188 yards and 6 touchdowns. They say this freshman has an extra gear that makes him special. We'll see if he can do that against the Big East top defense in UConn tonight.
Rich Rodriguez may be the most influential head coach offensively in the country. His spread offense has become ubiquitous in college football. 5th year, 2 straight Big East co-championships and New Year's trips to the Gator Bowl. And Randy Edsall in his 7th year has taken this program from 1AA to a BCS conference and a bowl berth. Matt Newsy's kick returned to the 31-yard line. Vaughn Rivers with the Mountaineer return, and Pat White, the redshirt freshman out of Daphne, Alabama. Also a talented baseball pitcher, center fielder, drafted in the 4th round by the Angels out of high school, and said the toughest decision in his life was to say goodbye not only to pretty decent money, but also to one of his lifelong loves, baseball, and go football only here at West Virginia. We will see Adam Bednarik, Craig, at some point, but he expects to be limited. And the first carry is stuffed by a UConn defense that led the nation just a couple of weeks ago. Slayton brought down. Wide receivers in this spread include Jallo, Miles, Renaud, Villagrana for the injured Josh Bailey at tight end, and up front Garrett, Stanchek, Moses, Sheffy, and Justice.
Big, powerful offensive line up front that will make life a lot easier for that young quarterback behind him.
Slayton for a loss of 3 on first down. And 2 tight ends, 2 wides, and White under center on 2nd down and 13. And again, nothing there for Slayton. Fights to get maybe back to that line of scrimmage. The UConn defense still the best in the Big East, with Maine, McPhee, Fuller, and Davis up front. Linebackers Hargrave, Hennigan, Lansana, and the secondary of Butler, Delliston, Taylor, and Branch. 283 total yards per game. They have dropped from 1st nationally to 6th in the country in total defense in their current 2-game losing streak. White stepping away from the blitz and overthrows his target along the sideline. Pass intended for Brandon Miles, the senior from Goochland, Virginia, the Mountaineers' top receiver, and a quick 3-and-out on West Virginia's first possession.
And a great effort by the defense at UConn. It was almost as if UConn was expecting the first couple of plays that they had come their way. Negative plays for UConn tonight is critical on defense. Getting across the line of scrimmage and putting Bednarik or Pat White into a long passing situation. That's not something that they're used to dealing with.
Phil Brady, senior transfer from East Carolina. A little bit of a rollout. And a low bouncer taking a good West Virginia roll. Down inside the 20. May play tonight. He has been cleared. He's got a wrist issue, but they hope that they won't need DJ. And Brown can handle it all night long. Right to the air at about a 4-yard gain to Jason Williams. We check the Husky backs and receivers. And Cauley joined in the backfield by Lou Allen, Williams, Young, and Murray at the tight end. And up front, Preston Applebaum, Tonsing, Hutcherson, and Berry. The only real experience there is Preston, the senior at left tackle. This is his 43rd game. Coming into tonight, the rest of the offensive line totaled 40 career starts. So 2nd and 5. And on the option, Brown hit, still gets it into the hands of Cauley, and the Mountaineers stretch it out. West Virginia defensively 3-3-5. The 3 up front. Dykes, Liebig for a banged up Ernest Hunter, who should play, and Wilson. Three linebackers, Noshel, Henry, and McLee. And they have an extra safety in this five-man defensive backfield. McCann, Wicks, Lorello, Adai, and Mims. Mike Lorello, the leader of that group, in his 34th starting appearance tonight. So loss of 2 on the option, 3rd and 7. And overthrown after the...
You got to get that head around. You got it. The game's faster tonight.
Shane Hussar. And the up man Rivers. Past midfield. Vaughn Rivers to the 38-yard line. 35 on the punt and 19 by number 19, Vaughn Rivers. So the Mountaineers on their second possession inside the Husky 40, just getting started from Morgantown. Back in Morgantown, and the West Virginia Mountaineers set up inside the UConn 40 for their second possession. 12:28 in the first quarter, and Pat White with Owen Schmidt joining him in the backfield out of the shotgun. That pass to Reynaud, and the Huskies close quickly on Darius Reynaud, sophomore from Butte, Louisiana. Butler and Taylor getting to him.
Shows you the arm strength of Pat White and how quick he is with the ball. Watching him in pregame throw it, very impressed with his ability to get the throw to the outside, especially the long throw. You saw him there getting the call from the sidelines, and coaching staff sending a play in after they see the defense.
And that play being changed as they stay in the arm on 2nd and 4. Slayton bounces this one outside where there's lots of room. Good downfield blocking, and Slayton will be marked out inside the 1. Darius Butler prevents a touchdown, 32 yards for this true freshman from Levittown, Pennsylvania.
Woo! Now you see what Holly Rowe was talking about in pregame. Watch the speed of Slayton. Stays inside the fullback's kick-out block. Nice job of his offensive linemen staying on their blocks, kicking out, and the speed down the field, outstanding. The coaching staff raved about his speed. Slayton running against Virginia Tech and running away from that defense. You know he can run away from this defense.
6 touchdowns, tied the conference record against Louisville. And UConn up on 1st and goal inside the 1. And knock him back outside the 1. Ray Blagman from defensive tackle with first contact on Slayton.
These freshman runners around the country this year have really come on strong, and Rodriguez has his thoughts as to why all the freshmen are having success this year. They've come in early in July with the new rule allowing them to check in and work out during the summer. Slayton, a great example of a young man coming in, working hard, and getting a chance.
With the dive, he's in. Touchdown. All 7 of Steve Slayton's touchdowns in the last 2 games. He had 6, 5 on the ground, 1 catch against Louisville, and on the ground, but airborne to get the Mountaineers the early lead tonight.
Airborne, but never saw the football go across the goal line.
Pat McAfee, another true freshman out of Plum, Pennsylvania, on for the extra point. George Shell, one of the top holders in the country, has it down, and it's up 7-0 Mountaineers.
What do you mean top holders in the country?
You'll never see him miss even the bad snap.
All right.
West Virginia, all Steve Slayton on the scoring drive. The burst to get him inside the 1, and then 2 plays later he is in.
You can't draw that play up, the big run that Slayton had, any better than that. And the only thing that you can't add in a chalkboard session is the speed. You know, I mean, boy, vision and speed.
I was going to say vision. You know, give him credit for taking a play that wasn't necessarily designed to go where it ended up, 32 yards. And McAfee's kick goes out of bounds.
I think they all they're designed to end up in the end zone, right? He got 1 yard short of that. He was close.
Our Big East crew tonight, led by John Smith, referee.
Illegal procedure, kicking team, free kick out of bounds. The ball would be placed at the 35-yard line, first down.
HD. Dennis Brown for his second series. 3-and-out first time, rolls and fires to a wide open tight end, Dan Murray, who breaks the tackle and is finally powered out right at about the 40 by Jamal Adai and Mike.
Secondary, the game's faster. He did it that time.
For a wide look, and Brown out of the gun. That one.
That we can go against a stacked front in here like they have. This is West Virginia's defense. They got 8 men in the box.
And they are all over Pauly on second down. Loss of 5. So they had 8 inches of snow a few days ago here in Morgantown, and it was gone in a matter of hours. Bizarre storm came up out of nowhere. Pretty comfortable tonight, though. Brown chased by Lorello, who came on the safety blitz, and they'll kick it away on 4th and 15.
Place on the field at any time.
Hussar's second punt will sail into the end zone. West Virginia, 18 days since their overtime victory over Louisville. That was going to be a long break even before their game was hurricaned out at South Florida, rescheduled. But 18 days, players yesterday said, man, we're sick of each other. You know what? Can't wait to hit somebody besides ourselves.
There were several of my teammates, given an 18-day layoff, would have gotten out of shape. You know, it had too much fun on the street. 18 days is like an eternity in the regular season.
Rich Rodriguez gave them a weekend off, their first time off since the 4th of July. And a flag down as they go on the reverse, and boy, 3 flags. Laundry everywhere. Darius Reynaud likely will see a big gain wiped out. First flag thrown prior to the snap, and sure enough, 27 yards for Reynaud will not stand.
Yeah. The officials ran out of yellows.
I just wonder if there were actually 3 different infractions, because there were 3 flags thrown all at different points in that play.
That's what 18 days. You talk about those things that can get you.
There are 2 fouls on the play against the offense. The foul for illegal formation, 6 men on the line of scrimmage, is declined. A foul for holding, number 65, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
And this is just, again, execution, 18 days off. But you can see in here the 6, back and back. Got to get them up front. You got to have your 7 up front, and they didn't have 7 on the line of scrimmage, and then the holding other side. And so you're a little crisp and jittery out there. You've been off. You're excited to play again. National television. Sometimes the mind's not quite ready.
So the hold on Jeremy Sheffy at right guard is the penalty that's marked off. And back on the ground, Steve Slayton knocked backwards a couple yards to the 8.
I think it's a real good idea for Connecticut to stop Slayton before he begins.
You don't think he's already begun?
Yes, but what I'm saying is you better make sure that if you're going to get in there, that you get in there early, because just like number 40 did there, Maine, he worked his way into the backfield. Don't let Slayton get the motor running on a play.
USA Today, National Player of the Year for his 6th touchdown, 188-yard performance against Louisville. Quarterback draw, White. And he loses 2. Back to the 6, hit by Rayma Fuller, junior defensive tackle. Another Floridian from Cocoa.
And a very nice job of Connecticut's defense on the defensive line of seeing the ball. You notice that their lane assignments are there. They're finding the football and coming off blocks. And that's something that Connecticut's defense has been working on. Defensive linemen getting off the blocks, linebackers finding the gaps they're supposed to be in.
3rd and Wheeling. Last possession, they had great field position inside the Husky 40. Took advantage for the touchdown. Now they back up, starting from their own 20. And from his own end zone, White overthrows the intended receiver, Reynaud. Pretty important here for UConn to turn this defensive stand into field position, because I don't think they can count on too many 80-yard marks. Todd Orlando's group forces Phil Brady to stand 8 yards deep in his end zone, and gets off a punt that goes backwards, as did that entire possession for the Mountaineers. Out at the 32-yard.
Backside of some teams only have 2 games remaining. It's phenomenal.
And then there is UConn, which started September 1st and will wrap up December 3rd when they take on Louisville. Knocked backwards, Cornell Brockington on his first carry. The junior from Burlington, New Jersey, with a familiar last name, the cousin of former Ohio State Green Bay Packer running back John Brockington.
I like him. Brockington last year had a heck of a season, and a beautiful night. Got to get the motor running.
Middle of the first quarter. Mountain Field, Morgantown 7-0. Steve Slayton with a 1-yard scoring dive on the second possession of the night for West Virginia. Dave Barnett, Craig James, and Holly Rowe from Morgantown. Screen set up nicely for Cawley. And he breaks tackles, finally.
Dennis Brown can live with.
3rd and 3 here from the 25 of the Mountaineers. Is going to be stopped a yard shy of the first. Mike Lorello, who has, according to his coaches, one of the best knacks they have seen for beating blocks, whether it's on a blitz, as we saw on that last possession, or coming up to stop the quarterback option, as we see him do here.
And I think Randy Edsall is dead on with this right here. 41 yards. His program is at the level now. You've got to have a kicker that can go out and kick. This guy has experience. He's done this before. You need points on the board right now.
Matt Nuzzi is their all-time leading scorer and all-time field goal leader. Somewhat an inconsistent season this year. He's 8 out of 14. Plenty of leg, and he's good. And UConn on the board. Nuzzi, the junior from Trumbull, Connecticut, with 6:45 in the first. It's 7-3, West Virginia. 100yardblitz.com and enter tonight's code word Mountaineer. Your chance to win an HD TV. 7-3 West Virginia. 6:45 in the first. After his 41-yard field goal, Matt Nuzzi with the Huskies on the board. A very high, short, pushed out of bounds kick. And we've already seen a couple of those tonight. One by each kicker.
Well, I'm all for directional kicks, but gee,
The procedure, kicking team, free kick out of bounds, place at the 35-yard line, first down.
Holly Rowe, Craig mentioned the fact that it's really benefited West Virginia, the fact that freshmen can come in and have a summer to get used to college football now.
You know, Rich Rodriguez really credits that with their fast start. He says not only do they get acclimated to campus life, but they get in condition. He said most of his team hit fall camp already conditioned for the season, and so they were able to spend more time teaching instead of running and conditioning.
And in this 18-day layoff, they kind of had a mini-camp, White keeping for 8 yards. With that much time, even though they didn't know the entire period it would stretch out as long as it did. They thought they would have an off Saturday, a game at South Florida, and because of the midweek situation now, they were going to be off last Saturday anyway. But he said, with all that time, we took advantage of it and kind of went back to some of the things we would have been working on had it been August. So fundamentally, he's hoping that they will be especially sharp despite all that time off, as well as fresh. So after the 8-yard keeper, White has it under center at 2nd and 2. And Slayton bounced off the first hit, and for 5'10", 185, shows some power there. Finally into Ryan Hennigan, the middle linebacker.
And I drew right before the snap. You see how tight Connecticut's linebackers play. They want to be up around the ball, and they want to create confusion. They want to get in and have their gap responsibilities. And I think it's a good call. In a game like this here, again, with Slayton as fast as he is, you need to be there before he picks up that speed.
Their first order of business this week, must stop run, force the pass. Here's the pass, and Renard works hard for just a couple yards up to the 47, hit there by the strong side backer James Hargrave.
Oh, wasn't that great pursuit getting out there? And right now you're seeing a Connecticut defense that supports what Randy Edsall told us. He said, I have a young, inexperienced team. It doesn't mean they're not talented, but this is part of it's almost like Dan Orlovsky's gone and all that group, and they did their thing, and they went to the bowl, and they had their success. Now he has to replace it. And so it's a good stage, I believe, in a young program's career here to be able to come in here and start replacing some of the former stars.
How about the burst by the fullback, Owen Schmidt? Their leading rusher against Maryland. He averaged better than 13 yards on his 6 carries, and he must have really taken a wallop to be slow and limping at 6'3", 245.
We sit here in the defense. They're paying attention to Slayton, and they're worried about the quarterback running, and all of a sudden Schmidt, your fullback, has really good instincts as a runner inside and a big body at 6'3", 245. And more than likely, I mean, not as a former runner, I can guess a little bit here, I like a good thigh shot, you know?
No thanks. Division III, Wisconsin River Falls transfer, walk-on. And he not only takes the punishment, but he will dish it out, too. That is his face mask from their last game. It's not the way it's going to look at the start of tonight's game, but he leads with the face. And dishes out more than he takes. He took a hit from Darius Butler here.
And you know what? There are a lot of guys on a football team that have to go in and sneak a hit on their bench or locker so that it looks scarred up like they really played. Schmidt's not one of those. He's going to go do it on the field.
1st and 10, Mountaineers, 40-yard line of the Huskies. And again, White keeping. Pickup of about 4 down to Holly.
Well, guys, you looked at that face mask. It was so bent up. That was actually in Rich Rodriguez's office. He took that to show to his team the philosophy that they want to have. He's calling it face mask philosophy. Get in there. Don't be afraid to get your face in the fan and mix it up. He said, I'm going to put that on a plaque or something and keep that to show guys just how he got in there and banged it up with 3 touchdowns against Maryland. He wants everybody to play that hard.
Hey, and in a little bit, Holly, I want you to tell everybody about the flip the switch deal that Rodriguez has. I think that was pretty cool as well.
On 2nd down and 6, Reynaud, who had a 27-yarder, wiped out by penalty. 1st down, drag down, out of bounds at the 25 by Hargrave. 11 this time for Darius.
And I've been watching Connecticut's defense and their discipline and trying to stay at home, but you have to blanket from corner to corner. Reynaud has a lot of speed, but you can't underestimate the speed. The big block being downfield on the corner, and it allowed Reynaud to get around for the big play. Now, this really forces Connecticut to check their whole card to make sure they're staying at home.
And how about West Virginia going 1 series later right back to that reverse? Defended a little bit better, no flag this time. Jason Colson, who began the season as a starter, quickly played his way out of that role with 3 fumbles in the opener against Syracuse, but still in the rotation at tailback.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, Holly, you talk about flipping that switch. That offensive line up front, I imagine they flip that switch every time they get the call.
No gain, 2nd down and 10. As Slayton returns. And West Virginia will have to burn a timeout.
Virginia, first of the half.
And Holly, when you go to Rich Rodriguez's locker room, you see the sign that Craig's referring to.
That's right. And what he's referring to is he wants an intensity and a fierceness, almost a meanness when they come out onto this football field for practice and for games. And so there's a sign right across the top of the locker room when they step onto the field that says flip the switch. But keeping in mind that he doesn't want his guys getting in trouble and being aggressive off the field, there's also another sign when they walk back in that says flip it back. I think that's a great philosophy, is he wants that aggressiveness in the right time and the right place, but flipping it back when they have to go back to class and to the community.
Yeah, you know what, Holly, it's so important to know how to do both of them. And in today's time, with the media being like it is, you can't get away with anything, and that's what Rodriguez is talking about. When you walk in here, hey, flip it on. We're on. We're watching film, it's on. When we're in pads practicing, it's on. But when you leave the locker room, you become a student. And there's a different level there. There's a different switch there.
You know, the other thing about that face mask business, wanting his players to hit facing whatever it is they're hitting. The other thing that's important about that is if you're doing that, you're not using the top of your helmet, which is where the catastrophic neck and spinal injuries happen. So it's two things that happen both good when you use your face mask.
It's just about attitude. You know, Rich is I love talking to him. You know, I'd enjoy playing with him. You know, and so now he's wanting guys who have that same level of intensity and focus that play for the West Virginia Mountaineers.
After their timeout, 2nd and 10. White in the shotgun. Slayton. Right at the first down marker at the 15-yard line. Of their first 10 snaps tonight, 5 went for positive yardage, and UConn knocked West Virginia back 5 times for losses, but this has been forward only, this possession.
Inside has to get outside and cannot get allowed to be blocked off. You see the wall-off effect that's happened here. Where's the secondary support? You got to get your Fanny up the field. They're getting hurt right now at UConn on the corner. The perimeter is letting them down. The safeties and the corners have got to support run and be much more smart about it.
Enough for the first. 8 carries and 41 yards already with a touchdown for Slayton at the 15-yard line. West Virginia nearing the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. On a 40-degree evening in Morgantown. Second meeting ever between now Big East rivals. To the end zone and underthrown. Intended for Slayton, who had a touchdown catch among those 6 scores against Louisville. Dana Delliston, the strong safety back there, face guarding Slayton, and it's 2nd and 10.
You got the face guarding right, and that's exactly what Delliston was doing here. No contact made though, and he's beat. It would have been a heck of a reception if Slayton could have come up with it. Nice call. They're spreading out. They're putting pressure on the corners. It's UConn's corners and their safeties have to step up.
On to Schmidt and inside the 5. Touchdown. You just knew he wouldn't stay out long. He took a hard shot on his first carry of the night. Darius Butler got him around the thigh pads after just a brief rest. Big sophomore walk-on fullback back in who has kind of embodied this West Virginia program. Very few high-profile recruits. This staff has to sniff him out from all up and down the East Coast and really becoming almost a national recruiting program now. And Schmidt with the extra point by McAfee. They have it at 14-3 Mountaineers. 2:48 in the first from Morgantown. No visible rush really at all for the Mountaineers. 14-3. Slayton and Schmidt with touchdown runs. Owen Schmidt after a 65-yard 10-play march with his 2nd career touchdown.
What a name, Schmidt. Man, what a deal. You know, just a nice clean hole up the middle of the field. Linebackers were looking, well, pretty much everyone on defense was looking for Slayton to get the football, and they forgot about the middle of the field.
McAfee drives this one down to the 3. Jimmy McClam belted at the 16-yard line on the return.
Give you an idea of the challenge the defense has at UConn. They're worried about this guy here. There's Slayton. Here's a linebacker. You tell me he's not worried and focused on what's going on with Slayton on the outside. And it's almost like Schmidt just kind of was expected to be lead blocking as opposed to getting the football.
It's also almost like he's looking for somebody to run over. He doesn't want to dig anybody. He wants to find somebody and dish out some punishment, bend his own face mask a little more.
Yeah, you can't bend the face mask not looking for somebody.
For field position, Dennis Brown in his 2nd collegiate game and first road start. True freshman from Miami, and he connects with Brent.
You know, he's got a good, strong arm, and the timing's nice on the out ball.
Young says probably 95% recovered at this point. 2nd down and 1. And keeping for the first down. Boy, Dennis Brown can dish it out a little bit himself. First down and 10. Huskies with 2:31 in the first, down 14-3.
And I like that UConn gets to the ball, get to the line of scrimmage, establish a little tempo.
Now moving to the near side and way past the line of scrimmage. He's at least 3 yards beyond the line. We let that one go.
But I think he was out of bounds, Dave, before he threw the football.
That's the only thing that saved him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is good.
Well, they're going to say he was in. Well, most of the time on this call, you might have to use 2 or 3 different angles to see if a quarterback really was beyond the line. Not the case here. There was no question.
No doubt that he.
Illegal forward pass. Number 11 of the offense. The quarterback was past the line of scrimmage. The penalty is 5 yards from the start of the pass. Also loss of down. Down 2.
But what I was looking for was not so much was he down the field. That was an obvious. But was he out of bounds? And it was just close. He got rid of the football before he went out of bounds. And you can see from behind, the ball comes out right before he comes out of bounds, right?
Well, you know what? The foot that he was pushing off was still in.
Yeah. He threw the ball down the field. You agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, you're in the boat with me then.
Yep. 2nd and 13 from the 29. Waiting. Finally. Intended for Cauley and off his hand. Bobby Hathaway, who came in after a dive, left injured, had a hand on it.
Hey, there's a lot of jumbling up. Linemen are not getting out clean for Connecticut. Every time the quarterback leaves, they're trying to run screens. Linemen are bouncing off of each other, and it's just not a clean transition inside by their offensive linemen. And I like the calls, getting Brown on the outside, trying to move the pocket for him, but the offensive linemen inside are getting banged up a little bit.
3rd and 13, UConn. All 3 receivers to Brown's right. Bounces off his own lineman and down. He couldn't get away from his left guard, Matt Applebaum, who, if you gave anybody credit for the tackle, probably deserves it.
And Randy Edsall's been really preaching to his offensive line, the staff has, about moving their feet, being more aggressive, go make plays. And right now, West Virginia is doing a lot more foot movement.
Straight back on that possession, 4th and 20 punt. Hussar. Very low, pretty short. And the West Virginia fans wanting a coverage violation, but no flag as it's down at the 42. There is a flag, however, from where the punt happened, a 36-yarder. From the spot where it would have to be running into the kicker. John Smith will tell us.
Running into the kicker, number 8 on the receiving team. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Tondy Smith, who has blocked 3, and in fact, very close to his 4th career block. Former walk-on from Youngstown, Ohio. So on 4th and 15 now, all over again. Hussar, as the Mountaineers play for the return this time. And it will roll down. BCS conference and make a bowl. Not only make a bowl, win a bowl, as they did in blowout fashion in Motor City over Toledo last year. Slayton drops the swing pass. Had 3 blockers out in front of him. A little bit low on the delivery from Pat White.
Yeah, there you go. Inside support coming strength. Strong safety Taylor with the blitz. 43 comes in. They're really coming after him there. And
Davis got a hand on it, too.
Yeah, Davis got the hand on it. So, I mean, you just can't sit back. Whether you're on offense or defense, UConn's got to go play.
White through the air, just 2 out of 6, 8 yards in his first quarter. He is a running weapon, though. And at the 44-yard line. Pickup of 6. Hennigan and Tyvon Branch with the tackle there, and inside the final minute now of the first quarter.
Again, and watch the way that it's spread out. Where's the safety? Get up in there. See him coming in late, 29. You know, great defenses. If you're going to stop on the perimeter, you've got to have safeties getting up in there, filling the lane.
3rd down 4. Protected, but overshoots his man down the middle of the field that time. Michael Villagrana, who started for the injured Josh Bailey at tight end. Bailey out with an ankle. Villagrana had a rare opportunity for a West Virginia tight end. They throw to the tight end position here about twice a year. On a big year, maybe 3.
You may not want to be tight end here, but you know what? And especially if your quarterback Pat White's not throwing it too well. He's 2 of 7. And the 2 completions, I've got to scratch my head to figure out where they were.
Slayton and Reynard. It's easy to remember 2 catches. They're the only 2. So 4th and 4. Brandon McLean back for Phil Brady's punt, and immediately surrounded at the 20. With 14 seconds in the first quarter. 36-yarder by Brady. Terrific special teams work by West Virginia.
Hey, Dave, a couple of years ago I was in here and I was talking about the punt formation, and this back here, and the punter rolls out and kicks the ball, right? And I'm saying to Rich Rodriguez, I'm talking about somebody else, I'm saying, man, I don't like this new punt formation these teams are doing. And it was like, I forget who was playing. I said, you know, I think it's just goofy as heck, man. You got the punter rolling out and all this kind of wishy-washy blocking. And he goes, well, that's kind of how we do it around here, too. Oh, man.
Watch out who you insult.
Yeah. I said, you know, it really works well for you, though, here.
Bobble Cauley falls on his own fumble at the 18. In the area was Lorello, as usual.
And you know, this is just from a running back standpoint, they just don't have rhythm right now. They don't know whether to get wide or go straight ahead. In my opinion, they're going to have to lay it back and slash with the running style past arm tackles.
An impressive first quarter for a West Virginia team that you might think would be rusty after 18 days off. Not the case. They're up 14-3. Middle of the Big East. Mountaineers #1 undefeated in conference play, and a good start at staying that way, up 14-3 as we start the second quarter. UConn ball, they're 18. And the freshman Dennis Brown. Short yardage, if any. Maybe 1 for Brandon McLean on his 10th catch of the year, knocked backwards by Anthony Mims. Headed down to 40 degrees tonight in Morgantown. UConn and West Virginia, just their second meeting ever. Dave Barnett, Craig James, Ollie Rowe. And the first career road start, second collegiate appearance for Brown. The 3rd starting quarterback. An injury-plagued position for Randy Edsall and Norris Wilson, his offensive coordinator, with Matt Bonoslawski, who started the first 5 games out with a collarbone fracture. DJ Hernandez out with a wrist injury. And Brown down.
I do believe that Dennis Brown's going to throw the ball down the field a little bit more.
Another short kick by Shane Hussar. And Vaughn Rivers returns it to the 35. And here, after just a 30-yard punt, is a chance to take, if they don't already have it, real, total control of this game.
And you see the coaching and the scouting, recognizing that Connecticut doesn't kick it deep. You put 3 guys back, so you cover 2 different levels of punts, and it pays off. The ball doesn't hit the carpet. It doesn't roll for 15 or 20 yards.
UConn now -13 on the ground. No support for their freshman quarterback. Brown, who's 5 of 9, 49 through the air. Just the reverse for West Virginia. Back to Slayton on first down. They have rushed for 95, and their redshirt freshman starting quarterback, Pat White, has thrown for a total of 8 through the air on 2 out of 7. 9 carries, 42 yards in the score for Slayton. Adam Bednarik said he when he got his shot tonight. We do expect to see him at some point in the 2-quarterback shuttle for West Virginia. Hope to be about 85% and then let the adrenaline take over with a sprained foot nagging since the Louisville game. Swing pass to Schmidt. Turns that helmet forward, runs right over Tyvon Branch for the Mountaineer first.
And you can hear the hit from up top. Just get to the flat and an option for the quarterback. And nice execution, throwing the ball outside by Pat White, and then go get him. I mean, you see him leap.
I hope they've got lots of spare face masks.
That guy must have a forehead made of steel.
When you hear that as high up and as far back as we are up here, that's punishment. Slayton to the 20, pickup of about 3 on first down.
And Slayton will watch the film tomorrow, and he'll wish that he stayed outside on this one and recognize there's a lot of room beyond those hash marks. And with the speed that he has, as he gets older and more wise with the field, that's a big play.
2nd and 7. UConn 20-yard line. And the catch by Miles, who turns it up straight up the field. Touchdown, West Virginia. Brandon Miles, the senior, with his 3rd scoring catch of the year.
You see the execution of the blocking and the throwing, the quick arm, getting it out to the outside for Miles, and just splits the defense. And right now, the Connecticut defense has put so much focus on stopping Slayton, and you have to, that it really opens up other opportunities.
McAfee to make it 21-3. West Virginia. Credit Garin Justice for the block that sprung Brandon Miles untouched. West Virginia dominant early in the 2nd. Well, we expected at some point to see DJ Hernandez, who was the 2nd of the 3 starting quarterbacks used by UConn, and despite a fracture and a pin in his left wrist after being injured against Cincinnati, he seems to be ready to come in, although I don't put what's happened so far on Dennis Brown at all. He's done decently in the air, and he's got no support from the running game.
And I think at this point here, if you're Connecticut, you have to consider throwing the ball down the field and again going back and taking some chances. And it's not Dennis Brown. It's up front. It's the offensive line. It's the whole system right now that's got to pick it up. And maybe putting in Hernandez might give him a little bit of a change of pace, though. Who knows?
High short kick from the 13. For 49 yards. The running game is -13 with problems just like that one. See if they say this was caused by the ground. No. Fumble recovered by Warren Young. Backup defensive tackle for the Mountaineers.
If there's a disappointing aspect of the game so far for me, it's the fact that Brockington and Cauley are 2 very seasoned, established, successful runners, and neither one of them have made a play. When you come back and you look at it, it's almost the traction. Cutting on the inside foot, ball comes out, hand hits it.
Cornell Brockington has not had very many touches tonight. Had that one punched out, might not get very many more. After turning it over to West Virginia on their own 20, already down 18. Almost 12 minutes still in the first half as Slayton reverses field. Here's his speed on display. From nowhere gets a block and turns what might have been a loss of 5 into a gain of 3. And who threw it? His quarterback, Pat White. The block of the year, maybe, for West Virginia.
Did you hear the fans, the stands? Well, Slayton's got speed, and he tries to get to the outside, but Connecticut flew out, pushed him, and he comes back. Now watch on the bottom middle of your screen. Quarterback, oh, man, lay in the wood, Pat White. They just saw it on the replay.
They enjoyed it all over again. All that for a gain of 3. And inside it's Schmidt. inside the 15. Definitely worth another look.
And, you know, there's one guy right now, competitively speaking, that wants a shot to go do something. Now, that would be Adam Bednarik. He wants to come out and do some of that himself as a backup quarterback. Man, that's how you get the fans and your teammates ultimate respect, by playing hard. Hey, Holly, that's called flipping the switch right there.
Third and 4 from the 14-yard line. White forced to scramble. Chased by Randall Fuller. He will turn it up the field and score. The first Mountaineer scoring drive, all Steve Slayton. This one, all Pat White.
It all started because of a fumble by Connecticut. And Pat White took full advantage of it, set the tempo and the tone with his block, and then with his legs.
Bednarik, just a sophomore, so they're going to have both these Mountaineer quarterbacks for the next 2 years. Another Pat McAfee point, 10-28 second quarter, another West Virginia touchdown, 28-3. Wow, what a first half by West Virginia, capitalizing on a couple of UConn errors. Pat White blocking and running on that drive to make it 28-3.
Well, you know, maybe it's a new idea to concept. Maybe West Virginia schedules every 18 days.
Longest break they have had since 1908. And UConn continues to cause most of its own problems as Jimmy McClam shows some self-tackleization back at the 10.
If that's a word, Mr. North Texas.
Hey, Darrell Royal invented that term. That is a word.
Well, you know what? Once the quarterback, Pat White, breaks containment, look at all the blue jerseys turn around and start blocking. And number 10 up top that I'd circled, Taylor, he too slipped. So maybe UConn's got the wrong cleat for this surface. I don't know. There's been a lot of slipping. Brockington slips. Cauley slips.
Taylor looking like he's ready to come back. At this point, UConn just got to concentrate on getting a first down and hang it onto the ball. And they get both here from Terry Cauley, who was leading the nation in rushing when he was injured middle of the 2003 season. He missed the rest of that year, all of last year, rehabbing a knee that had 2 of its 4 ligaments shredded.
And you know what? You saw a different kind of play. Tackle to tackle, the dancing, and they can't outrun West Virginia's defense to the perimeter. Get down the hill, break some arm tackles.
From the 32, Brown right into the hands of Anthony Mims. The corner returns it near the 10-yard line. And really, the first mistake you can definitely pin on Dennis Brown. He's had no support in the running game, but this is on him.
And you know what? Or if maybe a wide receiver was supposed to have hooked up on the outside as well. But the bottom line is it's a miscommunication.
This time they took it over, not quite this close. They have it 14 yards away from a 35-3 lead. Slayton stuffed on first down. Not a night where UConn could afford to turn it over, as they have twice deep in their own end.
And I think last year, the game where West Virginia visited out in Connecticut, and Connecticut played a spirited game and challenged them early, West Virginia was ready to play. You know, national television, Wednesday night, 18-day layoff. This team came out, and they're playing up to their talent level.
No gain on first down. White rolling, keeping, scored the last one with his legs and gets this one too.
Really nice execution on the quarterback's part. White gets to the outside, and the receivers were covered up. They were covered, and White did what he's supposed to do, run. Spread them out, give yourself a chance to throw it in the end zone, then take off.
18 and a half minutes in the books. That's all it takes for the Mountaineers to build a 35-3 lead.
This game, so I don't know. It'll be interesting.
McClam, who slipped on his own 10 last time, much better effort here. And out across the 25, down to Holly.
17. Well, guys, Rich Rodriguez has had some different kinds of quarterbacks in his patented spread offense. But he says that Pat White is the best combination. He said, you know, Sean King at Tulane back in the late 90s had a great arm, but wasn't that great of a runner. Woody Dantzler at Clemson, so good with his legs, but not a pinpoint passer. He said Pat White is the best combination of those guys. He has the passing skills. He can put it where it needs to be, but he also can get it done with his legs. After all, he was an outfielder that got drafted by the Angels. Guys, he is the perfect combination for this spread offense of Rich Rodriguez.
He's got consecutive 14-yard touchdown runs. And Cauley tries to bounce this one outside. Strung out by the West Virginia defense, and he still gets about 3 yards out of it. Lorello chased him down. Cauley still experiences some fatigue in that knee that he injured 2 years ago, and the coaches say it's up to him to let them know when he's got to have some rest. And to keep that constantly at the top of his mind, and to know that he's got a more than capable backup in Brockington.
Yeah, it's hard to call Cornell Brockington a backup with the success he's had in his career, but neither one of them tonight did anything done.
Brockington first team All Big East last year. Nobody would like him as a backup. Anytime he carries it, Husky fans have got to have some pride in what he's done. Brown sacked for a loss back at the 25. West Virginia's not smelling blood.
Well, and I think what you're seeing, too, is two different levels of football. You know, West Virginia is really good. I've got them as an AP voter, number 12 in the country. I think they're a really good team. And so they're overpowering. They're overwhelming Connecticut right now. And I'm not surprised coming into this game. I think with a young quarterback starting on the road for the first time, we expected this. But you're seeing very nice execution right now.
Jeff Noschel, the third sack of the night for West Virginia. Another very short punt by Hussar. Just 25 yards. Are getting shorter as the night wears on. And as it wears on, Pat White looks better and better.
Well, he has had a very interesting night here on a Wednesday night, and his legs and running the football has been quite impressive. The ability to throw the ball is there, but I thought that the run right here, followed up by that big block he had. Remember that, Dave? When he blocked back for Slayton, it just opened him up. Loads of confidence.
We're talking about getting a chance to see Marcus Vick Saturday, too. Those 14-yard touchdown runs, he's got some of that Vick burst.
Yes. And just as we show a nice little highlight package of it, he fumbles a football.
The last 4 Mountaineer possessions have all but one started in UConn territory, and this one is a yard away from midfield. 35, 20, and 14-yard line of the Huskies, and this time from their own 49, but back on the loss of 4.
You know, you made an interesting observation a few series ago. You talked about there are not a lot of blue chip guys in this program in terms of high nationally acclaimed guys, but they're football players at West Virginia.
You just have to sniff them out a little bit differently than your Miamis, your Florida States. James Hargrave up for the stop here, but Rich Rodriguez manages very well. You have really in this class 25 freshmen from 13 different states. I've never seen that wide a distribution of recruits ever by anybody.
I think it shows you the appeal that Rodriguez has when he sits down with somebody.
Open deep, but just overthrown. The target was Darrell Jallo, another redshirt freshman. Holly, one thing that Rich Rodriguez asked his veterans when they host recruits on campus is, will they fit in? Not just are they good athletes, but personality-wise, are they going to fit?
Dave, that's right. Actually, he has guys after the kids leave campus and they've hosted these recruits. He's like, okay, what do you think? Are they going to fit our program? And he really does a lot of research on it. He said, we get a certain type of kid here.
Waiting for Phil Brady to kick it away. Try and pin the UConn Huskies back somewhere inside their 15. Brandon McLean, 4 yards, returning a 42-yard punt. All Mountaineers, 5:55 to go in the half. UConn team 2 wins away from bowl eligibility, coming off a 9-win Motor City Bowl victory. But staring in the face now, 3-game losing streak. Dennis Brown, draw play calling. Fights hard just to get back to the line of scrimmage. And they have really hurt their own cause, as if they needed to help West Virginia much tonight. They started their last 5 drives from their own 16, 19, 22, 10, and 15. Turned it over a couple of times. They have 0 rushing yards now on 14 carries. And all 52 of their yards on 6 of 11 from their freshman quarterback, Dennis Brown. Back to Cauley, same thing happens. From down 17 with 9 minutes to go in regulation. Brown going deep. Back at that Louisville game, if West Virginia goes on to have the season that they now have set up in front of them, it's not going to be hard to trace the turning point, the tipping point, as Allen carries. You're down 17 with 9 minutes to go. You got folks leaving, and then they find out as they're driving home on the car radio what they missed. Incredible turnaround. If they lose that game, Louisville's just fine. Everybody's got a loss in the Big East. Everybody figured this was going to be a conference that Louisville could march in and take over. Rich Rodriguez had his club picked mostly in the middle of the pack this year, even though they're coming off back-to-back co-Big East championships. And the first time they meet in the Big East, for West Virginia to get a win like that and show up defensively again as they have tonight. Eric Wicks joining Bobby Hathaway to sack Dennis Brown. All this from the 9-minute mark of the 4th quarter of that Louisville game. And if they go on and finish 11-1, which they could, they'll look at that as where their season really came together.
It was the beginning. And you know, on the flip side of success, watch these guys. That offensive line, they're just not moving. They're all bunched up. I mean, there's a football field out there that's pretty darn wide, and West Virginia's playing it. They're covering it. And Connecticut's offensive line is not getting it done, and the running backs behind them are playing as inept as the offensive line.
4th sack of the night. Incomplete. Intended for Brockington. And as they continue to tee off on Dennis Brown, you better get used to more of this.
Yeah, here's that word, inept. Brockington in the backfield. They're just not playing well. He's got to catch the ball. The ball's well thrown. They're in the flat, and it's just no execution. So you cannot blame this total collapse on Dennis Brown.
Mark Magro with the hit that knocked him backwards that time. So another Hussar punt, and it's blocked. That is going to turn into maybe his best punt of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does that say? He's had some 25-yarders, but this blocked punt is finally down at the 37-yard line.
Let's see here.
Charles Pugh gets a good piece of that thing, and it goes straight up the field to the 37. First and 10 with 3:07 still remaining for the Mountaineers to add to this lead. A carry by Steve Slayton. We have Reese Davis and company waiting for halftime. Reese.
All right, guys, Mark May alongside. Coming up at halftime, we'll talk about the undefeated 5, see if any has a chance to go down this weekend. Of course, Miami going to take on Virginia Tech, and we'll also have the latest on T.O.'s injury.
You're seeing some great defense tonight out of West Virginia, but at halftime, I'm going to tell you about the #1 scoring defense in the nation.
Going to be a big showdown in Blacksburg on Saturday, guys. We'll go ahead and start looking ahead.
Yeah, you can't talk too much about a matchup like Miami and Virginia Tech coming up. Slayton close to the first. Right at it, should have it. Dana Delliston finally brings him down at the 47.
Yeah, I think Mark May's on to something. When you start talking about who's the last undefeated 5 and the top scoring defenses, that wise one May, he's on to something. Got to be able to stop him from scoring.
And as we talk about how highly ranked both those defenses are, watch. It'll be 46-44. Sure as you know,
Yeah,
you know.
all that pressure.
Blacksburg will be.
I just am not sold on Kyle Wright might become a really good quarterback. For instance, standing on the sidelines watching him play his first game there at Florida State, Drew Weatherford, you could see progress being made. And now we see Drew Weatherford, and Weatherford's a heck of a quarterback. I think they found their guy at Florida State.
Blacksburg ready to go nuts Saturday night. And another first down for Steve Slayton. Coming off 188 yards, 6 touchdowns. It took Butler and Delliston to bring him down here. Another first down Mountaineers with apparently time to spare with a minute 35 and 2 timeouts to work with from the 41-yard line of UConn. 16 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown tonight for Slayton, the true freshman from Levittown, Pennsylvania. One of the better stops by the UConn rush defense here. Dan Davis, defensive end, sophomore out of Plainfield, New Jersey, who has missed a couple of games because of an ankle ligament problem, but good to go from the first snap tonight.
It seems like UConn's defense have the ability from time to time to make the stop, but it's a consistent basis that they're lacking right now.
First 10 plays, remember, for West Virginia, 5 for positive yardage, 5 for negative yardage. And this is going to be for -1. White runs right into Raymond Fuller, the defensive tackle. And you're right, Craig, they've intermittently shown the signs of being the high-ranked defense that they are, number 6 statistically overall in the country.
But for instance, can you get them off the field? Third down, whatever the distance. Do you have a play or playmaker out there who can stop the opponent? And they don't do that consistently.
West Virginia will call its second timeout with 29 seconds here. UConn opened the season with back-to-back shutouts. Shutout teams they should have blown out and did, Buffalo and Liberty, and still averaging allowing just under 15 points per game. So they're not at all accustomed to looking up and seeing a scoreboard like this. The rest of the way, West Virginia, which is well on its way to going 7-1, will go next Wednesday night here on ESPN2 to Cincinnati and take on the Bearcats, and then they've got Pittsburgh in the backyard brawl, and that rescheduled game that was postponed because of the hurricane will be at South Florida December 3rd.
That's going to be a tough game. South Florida's a talented football team, and look at Rutgers, man, way to go, Rutgers. Absolutely good team.
Bowl eligible after just 27 years.
What is it? Since the last time they went was 1978.
To a bowl that has not been in existence for about all of those 27 years. The Garden State Bowl, remember that? At the Meadowlands?
Yeah.
Somebody thought it was a good idea to bring teams up to East Rutherford in December. White airs this out and finds a target in single coverage, Brandon Miles, but incomplete at the goal line.
Miles on the outside, basically just your mini Hail Mary. Throw it down the field, see if Miles can come up with a play. Connecticut, nice job of Butler coming back inside, swatting the ball down, but they stopped him. You know what? I'm sitting there a while ago and I was wondering, can they get him off the field? They stop him on 3rd and long.
So Brady who has been a big part of a huge difference in average starting position. Put one down there that was waiting to be knocked down and killed at the 2, and Antonio Lewis almost does it.
Well, you know what, I really think this is such a neat idea with this coaching staff, the way they roll these guys out and punt the ball.
Rugby style.
That old rugby deal. Way to coach him up, Rich.
Brady talks about how challenging it is to be a punter for Rich Rodriguez. You can't just work on your power 45 or 50 yarder every day. You work on that, but you also work on the rollout and the angle and the high 30-35 yarder that's going to be fair caught.
Yep.
Randy Edsel's got more than enough to work on at halftime, trailing 35-3 here in Morgantown. West Virginia coming off an 18-day layoff, coming off its second biggest comeback in school history, and unless UConn pulls off the comeback of the season, maybe the comeback of the decade, the Mountaineers will go to 7-1, continue their stranglehold atop the Big East. And for UConn now, this is a team that won 9 games in a bowl last year, 4-1 start, looking at their 3rd straight loss, 2 wins from bowl eligibility. And Randy Edsel, I imagine at halftime, was talking about salvaging the season, because if they have another half like this first half, I'm not sure if they can recover.
He's talking about heart, and you have to play the best to be the best, and you learn a whole lot in a game like this, just as much as when you're blowing somebody out. So I think Randy Edsel's probably gone in and he's told his team, I'm evaluating you, evaluate yourself. Now let's become an individual that looks in the mirror every snap and will be better as a team. And I think this is really where you get a lot out of a football team right now for Connecticut.
Huskies will get the ball at least to begin the second half. Jimmy McClams return out to the 28. This is going to be one of their better starting spots all night. They have time and time again turned the short field over to the Mountaineers, and Pat White's taken advantage, really more with his legs than his arm.
He's looked like Marcus Vick at times, as you pointed out in the second quarter. Lefty, he can run. This play right here showed a lot.
You know what? I might have to say he looked like Michael Vick. That one.
Yeah, one of the Vicks. But the guy really has maybe the best play, and the team would say it was the peel back block when Slayton was coming around the corner. That was the biggest play of the night.
That haze still hanging over the stadium because of the halftime cannon and fireworks show. Most fireworks shows you expect after the game, but there might not be that many folks to see it after this game. So
battlefield decision here. Go at halftime. Save them, you know, the expense of nobody being around after the game.
It's not fog here in the Appalachian Mountains. It's all man-made here. Second down at 6. Terry Cawley trying to get some freshman Dennis Brown keeping, dragged down at the 31. Another 3-and-out. Jay Henry, the junior middle linebacker from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who has never made a B in his life.
Well, what fun would that be?
I, for one, cannot relate to it.
No. Yeah. Hey, Dave, you've taken me by your fraternity house. You had no shot at
Not many 4 points happened under that roof.
Yeah, they were just a room full added together.
Jay Henry, in 111 hours, the junior athletically, and the closest he's come to a B, an 89.6. Big return here. Antonio Lewis with a flag at the end of the return.
West Virginia are saying, hey, coach, are you kidding me?
Well, he's got to say something.
Yeah.
Please keep him alert for the second half.
And Rich knows that. He's a former player. A team knows when they've got it and they should win. And right now West Virginia does. Now Randy Edsel is dead straight on. And hopefully his team is hearing him. This is a great chance for Connecticut to get better.
Pernell Williams on the carry. Good to see Marvin Taylor back. He was injured briefly in the first half for UConn. Second down and 7. Pat White all the way at quarterback. Williams on the pitch. Nice open field tackle. Marvin Taylor is there to stop Williams, a yard shy of the first.
Well, I've been on these safeties all night, and they're just playing too soft and deep. But when you look back here, just for yourself, evaluate. Once run is made, and you know that it's there, did you see the breakdown? I mean, it's just, there has to be, it's maybe not lack of effort, but it's not getting there.
Well, he got there. It was just
8 yards
1 yard shy of the first down. They give to the fullback, Schmidt, who has himself a touchdown, and he's got himself a first down here at midfield.
I think what I'm trying to point out here is I'm not wanting to poke at the safeties at Connecticut as much as I'm wanting to show you the fine line between being really good defensively and not. And in a game like this, if you're up 2 or 3 yards quicker and stronger, then you're hitting them. You know, you can't absorb and let it happen 8 yards down the field.
West Virginia, almost 3/4 of the time, has run the ball this year. You think of a spread offense, you think of a team that's thrown it around everywhere. But Rich Rodriguez says, as Williams carries, I don't care at all about stats. If I have to run it every play and I win, I'll run it every play.
He's a good coach, and there was a perception that maybe they used to be, you know, the spread out, run, throwing it around. Man, this team here will pin it back and run the football.
200 total yards, only 39 of them have been through the air. As the left-hander White rolls right and fires complete to Darrell Jallow, who's 2 yards shy of the first down at the 42. Rich Rodriguez has seen his offense become really, I think you'd have to say, the system around the country, the most imitated coach in football, with the spread spreading to so many different programs who have not only studied it from him, but studied it from the people who studied it from Rich Rodriguez. I mean, they're going, you know,
there's a lot of studying going on.
Randy Walker now gets a lot of credit because people are coming to Northwestern and learning his system. He learned it from West Virginia, and it's, you know, second and third versions are now getting out there around the country.
But yet Rodriguez said the bummer is the big schools now are kind of doing what we're doing, so all these schools are being studied now, and you're figuring out ways, the big schools, of how to stop it. A lot more focus on how to go out and to stop these offenses that spread you out.
Well, as is so often the case, it's not that Rodriguez sat up in his ivory tower and said, I'm going to invent an offense that everybody around the country will want to imitate. It was born, Holly, out of a program at Glenville State here in West Virginia that Rich Rodriguez says was winless and will get a standing ovation if they just make a first down. That was what he was originally trying to work on.
That's right, and it was actually kind of a mistake in practice. He said, bless his heart, we had a quarterback that ran like a 5.5 40. He wasn't very fast, but one day in practice, we had him in the shotgun, and he just forgot to hand it off. We saw that he had a gain there. We saw what the defensive end did, and that was the birth of the zone read. It was a mistake in practice.
Zone read, not necessary here. It's just turning and taking it on the boot by Pat White, who's got another first down. So you've seen how an accident has turned into, in a lot of cases, the key play in this spread system.
Watch the sell. This isn't the zone read, but this will give you a feeling for backside what happens when you really sell something going one direction and the pressure it puts on the backside in the pursuit. And so, you know, we see it in the NFL with Peyton Manning, right?
It was, how is this team going to get a first down against an NFL defense? So he figured short ball control passing was their best chance. They didn't figure they could run it on anybody, but they figured they could throw it for 4, 5, 8, 10 yards at a time. And, you know, back from way in the early 70s to now, that offense continues to multiply and mutate around the NFL and in college football as well. The West Coast offense, born because he couldn't think of anything else that would work.
You know what I thought was interesting, and you talk about learning and studying. Joe Paterno sending his Penn State staff to the University of Texas last summer to spend a week with the Longhorn staff. And these staffs get together and they're competitors, but yet they learn and they study from each other.
Brandon Miles on this drive, just the second pass, 8 rushes by Pernell Williams, and the MJ E-step, the backup to Taylor pre-safety, is there for the tackle.
So the Penn State coaching staff watches how that zone read is run by Vincent Young at Texas, and that's pretty powerful. And then all of a sudden, Michael Robinson at Penn State has a way of learning, and they study and they figure out how they can take advantage of the players that best suits their talents on their team.
That reminds me, though, of when the offense of the 70s, the wishbone, started at Texas, and people were coming down to learn it from Darrell Royal, and Duffy Daugherty came down from Michigan State and said, I want to study and get your offense. As White scrambles and is belted at the 15, and Royal told Duffy Daugherty, I think as much as my offense, what you really want is my fullback. With Steve Worcester, and was the first option in the triple option. If you got Vince Young, any offense is going to look good.
Absolutely. I thought Vincent Young last week put himself at the top of the Heisman ballot to lose now. It's his to lose. And he single-handedly salvaged that game, brought his team back with his legs. He willed them to victory, which gave them a shot still in the national championship.
McAfee on to try a 33-yarder. Vince Young, the first Texas Longhorn ever to have 500 total yards. 506, just the 7th quarterback ever to have a 200-yard passing and rushing game. McAfee is good here. West Virginia adds to the lead with 6:47 to go in the third. 38-3 Mountaineers. I heard you right. In a game that cost Texas a couple of first-place votes in the polls, brought you around from Reggie Bush, and you've been a Reggie Bush guy all year for the Heisman. Now you're a Vince Young guy.
I thought Vince Young, again, was one of those guys in a particular game that his team had no chance of winning. And he was so much better than Oklahoma State. Those players could do nothing about him bringing the Longhorns back. And had he not done that, and had he not had the legs and the ability, the Longhorns wouldn't be looking at playing for the national championship.
Yeah, they would. They had no doubt whatsoever, and because they had Vince Young on the sideline, they all said after they fell behind for the 3rd straight year, Oklahoma State, at no point did they think they were going to lose, because last year, as Butler returns, wasn't down long. Last year, they came from 35-7 down, and that's the point Mac Brown made at the half. He said, oh, this was much worse last year. We can handle this, and they scored 38 straight this year, 49 straight last year. They never doubted.
Who was the guy that led them back in those comebacks?
Same guy.
A guy named Vincent Young, and Vincent Young is just different. Watching him against Michigan in the Rose Bowl last year, I stood on the sidelines and was amazed at what he did. And the fact that he can go out there and run away from guys is just unbelievable.
So he looks good when he runs the spread. He'd look good in the single wing, the veer, whatever.
I don't know. I always go back to this. Most outstanding football player. Bush is one. Leinert's one. Young is one. 3 good candidates.
You're finally over where I've been. The way I've seen Vince Young is he can do what Reggie Bush does, but he also has been one of the top 2 or 3 rated quarterbacks. People thought he couldn't pass. His passer rating has been right at the top, almost at Leinert's level all year.
But sometimes, Dave, we sit and watch Young, and he couldn't throw the ball and hit the bleachers. And then all of a sudden, he'll throw a perfect pass. And you say, how in the world did he do that?
Vince Young from midseason last year.
Like Vincent Young is college football's most outstanding player.
8th time last year he's led a come-from-behind Texas victory. A Leinert special. As Brown has to keep it, run out by Jay Henry at the 47. If you had those two head-to-head in a close game late, Leinert refuses to lose. At Notre Dame shows that he'll do anything at the last possible instant and pull out a victory. Young has shown that same knack for Texas. If they happen to play in the Rose Bowl and get a chance, both of them, to pull out a close game in the 4th quarter. They've both had that specialty their entire careers. What a treat that would be if it turns out that way.
And I had total conviction prior to last week's Oklahoma State game with Texas that Texas would beat them. I think there's a crack in the ship a little bit.
Muff punt here, a rare West Virginia mistake tonight, and it is recovered at the 17-yard line by UConn.
Not many mistakes tonight at all, like you said, by West Virginia.
Mims has not been the primary return man tonight. He does have an interception, however. He gives this one back over at the 16 is where the UConn recovery happens. Randy Edsall saw his team turn over short field after short field with the Mountaineers in the first half. Brandon McLean got the recovery for UConn. And Lou Allen, the redshirt freshman from Salem, on that carry and a late flag.
Well, that's the kind of play that allows you to set the tone up front with your pads. Come down the hill.
One on the defense. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
Eric Wicks, hearing it from Rich Rodriguez.
Don't you know, coaching, somebody once recently said, you know, the wins aren't as good as the losses, and you get over the losses. My friend Aaron Taylor was telling me that about a buddy of his, and I was like, what? Coaches just never forget anything.
Early whistles and flags here.
Well, progress has been made. UConn had, what, 7 false starts the last time?
Prior to the snap, false start, offense.
Runaway in the Motor City over Toledo.
2 in a row.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
William Beatty back up to Grant Preston at left tackle. Redshirt freshman from York, Pennsylvania, getting some playing time. Down to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, in their last game, Dennis Brown, this young true freshman quarterback, they had 5 false start penalties. It was a big issue for them. And so this week in practice, they really worked on his cadence, getting everybody to understand it, get on the same page. But again, it's coming back to bite him. 2 straight false start penalties. They got to get it corrected.
Best shot they've had at 6 all night. Allen tripped up at the 13-yard line.
And one of the few times, remember I was telling you earlier in the game about the offensive linemen not getting out and getting bogged down in their tracks. You know, it was one of those where the left guard finally got around and found the linebacker. And here's what I'm talking about. Watch the guard get around, and he meets the linebacker in the hole. You get a positive gain. It's still not at the point you want it. You want it a little quicker, but at least he got around the center box.
Good block on Kevin McLee, who has returned from missing some snaps because of injury. Into the end zone and overthrown in a crowd of Mountaineers. The target, the tight end, Dan Murray.
But the right read, and the play was almost there. Good execution by West Virginia of boxing Murray on his route. But Brown knew where he was supposed to go with the football.
UConn, unlike West Virginia, likes to throw the tight end. Dan Murray is their 3rd leading receiver on the season. Brown's challenge on that one, get it high enough that it wasn't going to get picked off, but low enough for Murray to bring in. Not quite. 3rd and 13. And
timeout, Connecticut, first of the half.
I was just going to say, surely not the 3rd false start on this drive. Timeout, 3:34, 3rd quarter, UConn trying to get a touchdown. Many here since halftime, though. In the 3rd quarter, only 1 field goal by West Virginia. 3rd and goal from the 13. Brown corralled at the 23.
That's Brown. It's sacked. 92. Johnny Dingle.
Jay Henry and Johnny Dingle, backup defensive end, combined for the sack. And that far back after the 5th Mountaineer sack. Much as they'd like to go for the 6, they have to get Matt Nuzzi in and suddenly hope for 3 on what will be a 39-yard try. Nuzzi with the only UConn points of the night on a 41-yarder, which at that time made it 7-3. The only time it's been competitive all night, and he is again good. With 2:46 to go in the third quarter, the Huskies' all-time scoring leader has all 6 tonight. Always 1 or 2, doesn't matter how cold. 38-6 on a 40-degree evening in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Oh boy. Oh, you know what? The heat though escapes through the top of the head, most of it, and so they're well protected.
There's a lot of room to escape through heads like that.
Do you think they'll be up for biology in the morning at 8 o'clock?
I would not bet on that. Only points here in the third quarter have been by the kickers, exchanging field goals. And on the return, second violation of that nature, as Darius Reynaud is sent backwards. And after leading 35-3 at the half, only 3 points here in the third quarter, a loss of 23 yards. This possession started at the 30, and this tackle inside the 12.
We've seen this play though a couple of times tonight for West Virginia early on work with Reynaud running around the corner. You know what? It's almost understandable if West Virginia goes in the tank mentally. There's no excuse for Connecticut to quit. They have to play hard.
Make it a loss of 13. And the quarterback draw. It's been Pat White all the way at quarterback. And a pickup of 7. Pat White, 4th-round draft pick by the Angels out of high school in Daphne, Alabama, has played both sports, football and baseball, since he was 4 years old. Now, 4-year-old T-ball is common. 4-year-old pad tackle football. I'd never heard of that.
No.
So 4 years old, he's been out there in pads. Organized. And his dad.
You and I are from Texas, and you'd think we'd have heard of that down there.
4th grade's about as early as I've ever heard kids in pads. His dad is the fire chief, Bo White, and never misses a game. He will make the drive no matter where West Virginia plays from Daphne, Alabama. When they were growing up, he and his brother Bo, he's got a younger brother as well, never missed their practices, never missed their games, and still doesn't, even though they're as far away as from southern Alabama all the way to Morgantown, West Virginia, or wherever they may travel. The chief, Pat's dad, always in the house. So on 4th down and 21, Phil Brady at his own 5. Brandon McLean with no doubt UConn enjoying some of its best field position of the night. And McLean quickly into Mountaineer territory to the 46.
You know what? Really good officiating here on this last play where Pat White got hit going out, and then he jumps up and he's going over to say something, and the official jumps in there and saves him, right?
Good job by John Smith, the referee.
Nice job, John.
Preventive medicine.
With a big body. It's a good thing he's a large one, man. He put the wood on. And not many people hit Pat White tonight as hard as he did. Stopped him.
Biggest hit Pat White's been involved in. He doled out.
Oh, yeah.
That block on the reverse field run by Slayton in the first half. That one intended for the tight end Murray. Inside the final minute of the third quarter. Dennis Brown all the way at quarterback. DJ Hernandez with a wrist injury, fractured left wrist, non-throwing wrist with a pin in it. Not needed tonight, so the true freshman Dennis Brown from Miami. In just his second collegiate game, first ever on the road. Getting experience the hard way. New Allen on the carry.
And you know what? They're not running. They're missing their lanes. There's no coordination between ball carriers' eyes and blocking up front.
They are still at minus yardage on the ground for the night. -9 rushing yards. UConn averaging 217 rushing yards per game coming in. 26 carries for -9. Brown is 9 of 18 through the air for 94. And is going to tuck and run here and is tripped up at the 40. Johnny Dingle, originally a Florida signee, first team All-State, also out of Miami, as he tackles Brown to end the third quarter. Just an exchange of field goals. West Virginia built a 35-3 lead at the half, and they continue to coast. Fourth quarter from Morgantown, West Virginia, all Mountaineers, 38-6. As UConn looks at a 4th and 4, going for it from the Mountaineer 40. Brown again under duress will tuck and run, and unable to bounce that one outside as Eric Wicks came up to end the latest UConn possession. Holly Rowe, 136 years ago this week, something was invented that we all enjoy to this minute.
Well, thank goodness it was invented. It is the 136th anniversary of college football's first game between Rutgers and Princeton. And to commemorate that, you'll notice this Saturday, all of the coaches in Division I and even all of the referees are going to be wearing pins that say National College Football Day. Guys, it's a very worthy effort because not only are they celebrating the invention of college football in that first game, but it is a prostate awareness fundraiser for men all across the country. So an important thing, keep your eye out for those pins on all the coaches this weekend.
Yep, that's a pretty good brainstorm from our friend Charlie Fizz, who runs the SBC Cotton Bowl. He came up with that idea, both to celebrate college football and to increase the awareness of prostate cancer.
Got one at the house. Shelley Poe of West Virginia handed us one here today. Of course, you know, everybody here in the booth is taking our pins, but
they're collector's items. 2nd and 7, White. Still on the ground. West Virginia has thrown the ball only 14 times tonight. White is 6 of 14 for 56 yards and a touchdown. With a score like this, you'd think they're around 400 total yards. They're not, only because they had so many short fields in the first half. They're 232 yards because they had 20, 25 yards time after time after UConn turnovers in a couple of instances. A Brown interception, a Brockington fumble. That pass is deflected and picked off by the Huskies. And in the open field, Danny Lansana. Two that made the interception possible for Lansana. So 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. And the running game has pretty much been turned over to Lou Allen here in the second half. I don't recall a single carry by either Terry Cawley or Cornell Brock.
if you think about it, you're wrong.
-4 on the carry by Allen. Brown again is sacked. That is 6 for the West Virginia defense. And Mark Magro, who was close a couple of times in the first half, sophomore from here in Morgantown, gets to him here.
You know what? West Virginia has a lot of talent that we haven't heard about them yet because they're young and they're replacing guys. But when you look at the success they've had this season and against the teams they've had success against this year, we've shown you the Louisville game, but there's more to this real productive season than just the Louisville victory.
Last year at this time, for the entire season, the West Virginia defense had recorded 6 sacks. 6 tonight, up to 24 for the year. Brown keeping, slipping at the 29. And it'll be 4th and 20.
And you know, when you talk about the opponents that West Virginia has played and who they've beaten, I'm very impressed. Rutgers, for instance. You know, here's a Syracuse opening the season. Syracuse opening the season looked like well, maybe it was a big win then. Now, Syracuse has gone in the tank. But, man, look at this. Maryland, the Rutgers win, Louisville win down at the bottom. I mean, that's impressive.
Who would have thought that the second most impressive win on that schedule would be Rutgers? Right next to the triple overtime comeback against Louisville. There's Cauley, who had no shot whatsoever at converting the 4th and 15. Morty Ivy there for the stop. 11:16 remaining. Randy Edsall still coaching up Dennis Brown in a 38-6 West Virginia. I'm impressed that fan is still here, but how much is that fan, he or she, able to really enjoy of this second half?
Well, they have had a nice time tonight.
I understand wanting to stay warm, but I want to see the game.
You know what? That fan is wanting to see if Connecticut's offense can come out and total over 100 yards before it's over with.
They're 11 yards shy, 89 total yards. Dennis Brown, I think, is the only guy getting anything out of this night for UConn, and all he's getting is experience. In just his second collegiate game, still White all the way at quarterback as West Virginia runs the clock. Anything else, if you're Randy Edsall, can you possibly take anything else?
One of the things you can say is that you always get better the second game of the season, right? We've heard that for a long time. Consider this the beginning of another phase. There's no doubt that the next game Connecticut plays will be at a much slower pace. When you go against speed on the road in an environment like this, your next game, you see things a little bit better, more clearly. You're able to make that first step. You realize how important technique is when you're trying to cover somebody.
White, deep, Brandon Miles. They connected for a first half touchdown. They hook up here for big yardage. 50 to be exact, to the 23.
And that first step that I was talking about, Butler probably is thinking that right now. Turn your hips. You see the false steps. He goes to the inside, didn't he? You see him, Dave? He went left, and then he had to readjust his hips. He's beat. You're beat when you mess up like that. Now, these little steps, these little things they'll take from this game here can point to how you have to play if you want to be a top program.
White shows one more gift he has, the big arm. Jason Colson on the carry as Steve Slayton's taken the second half off.
It's another good name, good player.
Slayton had 18 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown. We're getting in a shot there. Tyvon Branch in the corner.
Yes, there's a lot. There really is. There's a lot they can take out of this game. And for Connecticut, they are a good program. If you're buying a stock, or if I am, they're a buy for me. I think Randy Edsall's a heck of a football coach with a good staff, and they're doing good things.
Colson a yard shy of the first. Slayton, a hip pointer. Now that could nag, and you'd hate to see that the way he was blowing and going to the first half after 188 yards and 6 touchdowns against Louisville.
A lot of these young players nowadays, it's all about speed, and they forget to put on pads because they don't want the pads to slow them down. But, you know, to be a really good running back, you have to break tackles. You know, very few guys are like Reggie Bush where nobody ever get to him.
2 tight ends in the eye, 3rd and 1. Jason Colson, who was the starting tailback at the beginning of the year, most experienced tailback still. He fumbled 3 times against Syracuse. Generally judged to be out of character for him, but it also left the opening for Pernell Williams, who's started 4 games this year, and the guy who's taken over the last 3 or 4 games at position, Slayton. Steve Slayton had 0 yards in 3 of the first 4 games this year for West Virginia. And the night went over 500 for the season. Colson powers his way into the end zone. Another West Virginia touchdown.
Leg drive. You better get to the ball carrier's legs and stop his momentum. Up high doesn't work. Tackling football is the worst thing you can do defensively, and there's another lesson you learn.
First touchdown run of the year for Colson, the junior from Rochester, New York. Extra point good by McAfee. 45-6, 8:28 to go in Morgantown. West Virginia about to go to 7-1 on the year and 4-0 in the Big East. You know, beginning of this year, after Miami, Virginia Tech, Boston College all migrated from the Big East to the ACC, lots of people, I would say the vast majority in college football, stopped thinking of the Big East as a truly major conference. Pretty major return by Courtney Robinson. And the clear banner holder continues to be West Virginia, which had co-championships last 2 years. The thing to watch now as a conference is, can they hang on to a top 6 ranking? Because that's continually evaluated, and as long as they're in that top 6, they're going to hang on to what a lot of people think they were in danger of losing, and that is the automatic spot in the BCS rotation. Peter Von Harten, senior from Marlboro, New Jersey, is on for Dennis Brown. And Brandon Young was the intended receiver. It's DJ Hernandez, bad wrist and all. Rather than Von Harten, Hernandez from Bristol, Connecticut, injured the wrist against Cincinnati. Still has a pin in it.
Hey, you know, back on that Big East deal, and the perception of the Big East prior to the departures of those schools was never great. And so there really has been this debate about, you know, should they be one of the top 6 and get an automatic? And nice little throw there and catch.
Dan Murray brought it in, got a foot down.
Yeah, but you know how I really believe this year, Dave, and there are a lot of Big East fans who think that I don't like the Big East. That's not the case, and it's a year-to-year thing by me, and I've tried to be honest about it. I really believe the Big East is one of the top 6 right now. I think they're better than the Mountain West and Conference USA and the MAC. I do. Those conferences are down. The Mountain West is down. And so
Mountain West is TCU and everybody else right now.
Everybody else, that's right. TCU is a heck of a football team. And so I think that West Virginia, and I believe Dave Wanstead, you have to expect that he's going to get that thing turned around at Pitt. I'm surprised that they haven't been better this year, quite frankly.
Dead ball, personal foul, number 90 defense, penalties 15 yards, automatic first down.
Warren Young.
So look at the emergence of Rutgers. Rutgers has a chance with all of the talent that they have in that state that usually goes, there are tremendous names we could go off on about that have gone to other, you know, big universities. If he can keep those kids, Rutgers maybe is the guy that comes in and really saves the conference.
They've been saying that forever, but it might finally be happening for them. They're bowl eligible for the first time in 27 years.
Just get the snowball rolling. You know, a lot of schools can't get it going, and right now Rutgers has it rolling, and if they can take advantage of this and have some success recruiting this year and keep it up, who's to say? Because West Virginia is a good football team, and Rich Rodriguez has it going.
Hernandez out of the 18. Big East sends teams to the Insight, Meineke Car Care, Gator, and the automatic BCS bowl bid.
You know, they've got some nice affiliations that you can see there, and the whole system, the whole college football system is a wacko deal. When we're sitting here, and there's a great chance that there's going to be some schools left out again from playing for the national championship.
Keeping again, DJ Hernandez, bad wrist and all, to the 11. Well, if you have the +1 system installed, last year Auburn gets a shot at playing the winner of what went down as the national title game, USC over Oklahoma. +1 Obviously not going to happen for the immediate future. And so with the undefeated still out there, USC, Texas, Virginia Tech, UCLA, Alabama, the odds grow the later we get into the season that there might be 3 or more still standing by the end of the year.
Well,
you know, at least in the Pac-10, both USC and UCLA won't make it through.
No. So let's say USC, Texas, Virginia Tech, and Alabama remain undefeated. How cool would that be? Just absolutely awesome for all of those who are against the current system that we have.
Awesome in terms of revolutionizing the system.
You and I have a colleague in this industry named Tim Brando. He wishes for chaos every year. You know, and that would be the ultimate.
UConn finally in positive yardage on the ground. It has taken this long for them to get to 6 rushing yards as of this carry. Wow. That's a team that averaged 217 on the ground coming in.
Speaking of schools and how they're doing, how about Oklahoma? Bob Stoops and the Oklahoma Sooners, the 3 teams they've lost to now are a combined like 26-1. Some amazing number. TCU lost 2, the only loss of the year.
Allen on the carry. TCU kicking themselves. They're in that undefeated group. If they don't lose to SMU, how did that happen? How did that happen?
That's just the proud ponies jumping up, big fella.
The Oklahoma losses to 1-loss TCU, undefeated Texas, and undefeated UCLA.
Right. And I read an article. Bob Stoops says it's a different experience for his team, him this year coaching. And I think Oklahoma's a heck of a situation, man.
Stand-up touchdown here. Lou Allen getting some snaps at tailback, starting fullback, redshirt freshman from Salem, as at last a touchdown on the board for the Huskies. 5:38 remaining. You might think this would be a good chance to practice your 2-point conversions. At Newsy, 23 out of 24 for the year, boots the PAT through, and it's 45-13 for West Virginia, which remains unbeaten and atop the Big East Conference. UConn finally with a touchdown, finally with something they can match of West Virginia's. The last drive by the Mountaineers went 6 plays, 74 yards in 2 minutes and 48 seconds, and UConn musters an answering scoring drive to make it 45-13. On the return, Lewis still on his feet. And a flag back at the 26-yard line. Another flag thrown out of bounds after the return by Lewis. Rich Rodriguez and his staff coaching as if the halftime score was 0-0 and not 35-3.
No, it's their style. You know, you got to perfect it. And little things that just drive him nuts probably are the stupid holding calls on a return.
Multiple penalties here to sort out for John Smith and his crew. You'd expect holding and a late hit. Block in the back and late hit.
In return, illegal block in the back. Number 1, a return team. That will be a 10-yard penalty.
Happens to be exactly right. Sports Center will follow. You're on ESPN2.
After return, hit ball, personal foul, 15 of the kicking team, 15 yards, first down.
John Holmes and Donnell Ford, guilty parties on the offsetting penalties.
I'm with that guy. Why run down there and take all to 10? Okay, now let's go 15 the other way. No, which way did he go? I like it. Guys thinking.
So after all that, 28-yard line is where they start. And J.R. House, age 25, true freshman from St. Albans, West Virginia, on the give. Jason Colson. J.R. House, you figure there's got to be a story there. How can a true freshman be 25? The story is he spent some time in the Pittsburgh Pirates minor league system, had 4 surgeries. And until this year, his last football was played in December of 1998 in the state championship game, in which he rolled up 594 yards and 10 touchdowns. The team scored 69 points. So with banged up Adam Bednarik watching all night tonight, still nursing a sprained foot from the Louisville game, Pat White and now Holly, J.R. House have shared the quarterbacking duties.
Well, guys, as you could hear from the ovation from the crowd, what's left of them when he came into the game, he's a fan favorite and a player favorite already. J.R. House is just about 25 years old, playing in his first year of college football, but he's already made a big impression on this team. In fact, he was voted as one of 12 people that is part of a leadership group called the Apostles. They're the players that Rich Rodriguez counts on to take matters into their own hands with leadership issues. And J.R. House, already a very popular player despite limited playing time, and here he is in the game tonight to a big ovation.
3rd down and 4. And House with a chance to go through the air, pick up the first down. He'll do it. As again, it's House to Colson. That's got to be worth a big smile.
That's great. You know, that young man has many times walked off a bus in that Pirates organization and thought about, dang, I wish I could throw a ball one more time. Footwork, gets it around, completion. That's many nights and wishing I was still doing it.
So 1st down, Mountaineers. Adam Bednarik gets the whole night to nurse that foot. Second cousin of Concrete Charlie, Chuck Bednarik. Jason Colson, one of 3 tailbacks to see action tonight. The prize recruit, a rare blue chip recruit, Jason Gwaltney, true freshman, Long Island record holder, 2,800 yards, 45 touchdowns. New York State record, 437 yards in a single game and 9 touchdowns. But Jason Gwaltney missing 4 weeks with a sprained knee. Another completion. Rayshawn Bolden with his first catch of the season and turns it upfield for bonus yardage before Marvin Taylor finally corrals him. 30 yards.
What a throw. Little timing. This isn't running the score up. I mean, this is just giving another group of players a chance to get on the field and play, you know? And Randy Edsel understands that across the sidelines. And it's kind of funny. This summer I went out to Newport, Rhode Island, the Big East preseason meetings or get-togethers, and there's this big tent. We're all having dinner together, and they're all peaceful and relaxed with each other. All these coaches having a good time with their wives. Of course, next summer, they'll be under that tent, and Edsel will be saying, all right now, Rich, why the heck were you throwing the football 4th quarter?
Back to the ground here, Pernell Williams. First catch of the season for Rayshawn Bolden, so that's why. That's why you're giving guys reps that they have otherwise not been given the opportunity for.
Hey, you need to go to the Big East meetings next year. I mean, they had it at former President Eisenhower's house there in Newport, Rhode Island. You talk about a nice event. Oh, lobster for dinner.
Williams brought down by Ray Fuller. Rich Rodriguez began the year saying, I really have no idea what to expect this year. So many young players, so many key spots occupied by freshmen. He starts 4 on the offensive side of the ball, including his quarterback and tailback. And the story this week for them is going to be the hip pointer suffered by Steve Slayton in the first half. Well, I think he would answer that question now in a completely different manner if you ask him how good can West Virginia be this year. 7-1, 4-0 in the conference in another 2 minutes. They love watching this. J.R. House with the legs inside the 15. A gain of 15.
So House still second base. Right up the middle. Yeah, you're right, man, my friend. He never got hit like that in baseball.
7 years since he's been hit like that. Next Wednesday night, a week from tonight, 7:30 Eastern, here on ESPN2, West Virginia at Cincinnati. They have Pitt left for the backyard brawl, and then the rescheduled South Florida game on December 3rd. Chance to close with a 6-game win streak.
71 offense, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Damian Chrissy. Sports Center follows with Steve Levy and Stuart Scott. Looking past the Canes, perhaps. Virginia Tech, Miami coming up Saturday night on ESPN at 7:45. The return of Ron Artest, and is T.O. going to be a no-go this week? All that just moments away. UConn looking at a 3-game losing streak now, and they go to Pitt next. November 12th. Then they have 2 at home, but they're going to be challenges. South Florida and Louisville. So a season that started 4-1. They're really looking at the possibility now, after a 4-1 start, of closing with a 6-game losing streak unless they pull an upset. I think they'll be underdog in all those games except possibly South Florida.
A lot of young players on their team, a lot of in critical positions, and for me, last year they had a lot more leadership. You had a Fincher on defense, emotional. You know, this is a changing year.
They lost 24 seniors off last year's team. They have 8 this year.
And you can see it on the field.
Playing their 3rd quarterback. Colson again carries. It should be the final play tonight. So UConn showing that inexperience. West Virginia triumphs despite its inexperience. Up 35-3 at the half. They coast to a 45-13 win, and Adam Bednarik got to watch the whole thing and rest that sore foot. Mountaineers maintain their hold on top of the Big East. The only unbeaten, 45-13. Again, our final. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So for Craig James, Holly Rowe, our entire ESPN crew, Dave Barnett, don't forget Sports Center coming up next with Steve Levy and Stuart Scott. A convincing Mountaineer performance tonight at Mountaineer Field. Good night from Morgantown.